Okay. I'm Charmaine. I have a page called PI Creatives, and I will be doing a series of interviews. Today, I will start with Reese McGinn. Hi, how are you? And and I will be talking to him about his online series, one of many, Outsmarted. It's witty, it's funny, it's dark comedy. I love it. It's out there. Everything you don't want to hear, maybe. Depends on who you are. Um, so welcome, Reese.
Thank you for this interview.
It's a pleasure to see you. It's great working with you last week as well.
Well, no, it was about a few weeks
Oh,
ago.
like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So I was off last week. I've just got back to work. So.
The days just roll into one.
Yes.
But it's a pleasure working with you and doing this interview with you too. So, can you introduce your TV series, and then I will ask you some questions that I'm burning to get the answers from.
Yeah, sure. So I started as a web series that I created back in, as far as I think during the COVID. I started off with a pilot called The Walrus and the Carpenter, which was just this little idea that I wanted to throw out. I've always wanted to do a detective series. And so Walrus and the Carpenter I released on Christmas Day in 2021, but it was held for a long time because of COVID. And then when I finally released it, it became a huge success on YouTube. And so I thought, go ahead and start creating this series. And I retitled it Outsmarted. And then it became the series that where everybody's been watching on YouTube.
Yeah, I've had the chance to watch quite a few of them, and I've recommended you to quite a few people in film who like your sort of thing. So I wanted to ask you a few questions, and one of them is, I mean, everyone in film goes through the stages of creating. Creation is the best thing when it comes to writing series. So my first question is, when you are writing a script, what are the first things you do in order to prepare? So do you go through stages, or do you have pointers? Do you brainstorm?
So when it comes to writing, the first thing I do is I have to go through these different stages of ideas. But the first thing I always do is I write notes. I don't do that thing where I write a draft and then do another draft and then do another draft and stuff like that. What I prefer to do is always write notes of an idea. So if something clicks, I think, right, I'm going to write that down. And then if something links with that idea, I think, oh, they could go together. Let's write that note down. And then it goes on and on and on. It can go on for years. And so basically, what I do is once I think I've got a collection of notes for a story or something, I think, right, now I can start writing the script. So I start writing the script with the ideas, and then after that, it goes draft to draft. But most of it is in note form and thinking, and then it goes on for, I'd say, at least 6, 7 months. I don't like to write a script that will keep on for years, although I have got ideas that have lasted for years. But if it comes to like short films, for example, Outsmarted, I'll think, okay, I know what kind of arc I'm going for. And then I write the notes of, for example, this will be in episode one, this will be in episode two, this will be in
Mm.
episode three. And then I kind of already know how it's going to start. And then it's all about getting to the middle and the end. So it kind of works that way, for example.
Yeah. How many drafts do how many drafts do you have, like, before you decide which one you want to go with? Or do you have always have a set idea?
Um, It depends on the idea, I suppose. But no, let's say, for example, like when I was if I write a short film, the draft would be only about up to 4 to 5 drafts because
Mm,
short film for me is a 1 day activity to do, depending on location and actors. But most of the time with short films, it's just there. But the feature films I've done, for example, I'd probably say a good example is The Wonders of Alice. I had the idea before because of the short film, but then I wanted to expand on that idea. And obviously, turning that into a movie was a bit difficult because you had more characters, more locations, more story to pack in. And I'd say that was up to like maybe 7 to 8 drafts of a script.
mm,
Because I remember when I was up to draft 5, I sent the script over to my friend Charlie. He read the script, but he said, I don't like the ending. We need to change the
mm,
ending. I don't like the last, I'd say the last 10 pages. So I said, okay, how do we do it? So he said, well, just think of a better idea to make it work. So I was going through ideas about how it should end and everything. And then I came up with the ballroom scene. And then I thought that could lead to the ending of the story. Rewrote that, sent that part to Charlie, and he was like, yeah, this is a much better ending. So that went up to the 8 drafts, and then it kind of reworked itself that long way. So feature film and big short films tend to have a bit of a difference. But yeah, so short films, about 4 to 5 drafts, feature films up to 8 till 9, I would say.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it can differ depending on, you know, the storyline, the ideas, the creativity. Sometimes, I mean, when I'm writing, there's about 7 different endings, beginning, middle, end, you know. So it all depends on, you know, how the story goes and the concept and everything. So
Yes.
Outsmarted is a lot different to Archie and Jim. So you might want to check this out on YouTube. It's another great comedy by Reese, Archie and Jim. I would say my question would be is because they're so different, have you found it, or do you find it difficult to go from one to the other?
Not exactly, because for me, I'm kind of a bit of a chameleon in terms of how to change a tone. I think the one thing that doesn't change about my films is the humor. I do have a very dark sense of humor. I mean, if you look at Outsmart and Archie and Jim, they both are very dark sense of humored
Mm,
comedies. Because I mean, for example, Archie and Jim does have a lot of like really sort of dark jokes in it. I mean, obviously, like if you think, for example, series 3 we did with Archie's dad, you know, that episode, Archie's dad dies, and then Archie's
mm,
happy that he's dead because he was a horrible dad, and that's really dark humor. And Outsmarted, obviously, that's dark humor because we're kind of satiring 1940s detective shows in a very different way. But yeah, they are very different shows. But Archie and Jim is more of a sitcom, I would say, than and Outsmarted is definitely more of a comedy drama sort of thing, I would say.
yeah,
Uh,
that's the difference. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Outsmarted in a way is very different as well because there's what is very different about that compared to Archie and Jim is with Archie and Jim, every episode and story is different. I have to come up with a refreshed idea with every new episode. But with Outsmarted, what I've done was something that I've never done before, which is do a complete story arc, like a Netflix series or a series that you get on FX or HBO, American Horror Story, Fargo, um, Euphoria, anything like that, that has a continuing storyline. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first wrote Outsmarted, it was kind of difficult to keep a storyline in the same era, of course, because also I had different characters for series 1, especially. I had
Mhm.
Red Fox and Judy, then I had the gangsters, then I had
Yeah.
the girls that done the murder, and so it was a lot of juggling, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of don't like trying to put too much story into my stuff. But the reason I had to was because I was trying to get a story out there to like, right, series one has to be big. You know, we have to start getting as many storylines and actors and something as much as possible. So I think I mean, that's the thing with me. I take too much risk. And I think sometimes I look at myself and think, why did I do that? But I'm quite proud of how it turned out. It wasn't exactly how I planned it came out, but I think series one came out a bit better than I thought anyway when it was expanded. So that's fine.
That's another question. How often do the scripts change during production?
It depends on, like, for example, before I start filming. I mean, there's been a couple of occasions where I've had to change the script during filming, but I don't like to do that because I don't like to mess with the actors and say, "Oh, we're changing now," and then they're like, "Oh, I've already learned my lines and stuff like that." So what I tend to do is to check and make sure that everything must be a must-have.
Yeah,
For example, with the subplots, it was, do I really need this story? Do I really need, But like I said, I think it came out better. I think there wasn't as much story, which is good. But I mean, it must have done well if people have watched it because I think the storylines did kind of connect in a good way. Like I said, I would have tried to have done this much more if I could, but I didn't have enough time. So with what I had, I think it done a bit better than I thought. So I'm quite proud of how,
yeah.
especially on a very zero budget series as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
Oh, that's great. So in terms of the actors, when you're casting and you send over the scripts, what is the usual reaction?
I will say this now. I think I'm Marmite to people. I think either people love my ideas or they completely know that I'm mad. Like for example, when I write some Archie and Jim episodes, I mean, the ideas for those are insane. I know they are, but I love how insane. I sometimes say to Charlie, who on earth is going to want to star in these episodes? Some of them don't make sense. They're absolutely out of this world. No one would ever be in. Like, if I was pitching this to a studio, they'd be like, "We can't do this. This is ridiculous." So
And this is, yeah,
he's
this is
my
what I
like. I mean, I've sent a few scripts to some actors, and some actors who do Archie, this is hilarious. This is different. I want to do it. But then I've met some actors who are like, this is not funny at all. This is bad humor. It looks ridiculous. We're not going to do this. I've even been insulted by actors by some of my work. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. Where do you get your ideas from? This is, you obviously haven't got a brain, stuff like that. But these are people that think they make themselves, like they think they've got a name because so many indie filmmakers get pushed by these actors who think they're, fucking king of the world.
there's a niche. I believe there's a niche for your scripts and your comedy and your humor. And I think when there are people that can not be so serious about everything, it's actually rather enjoyable. And there's a certain wit about it from my perspective, and I enjoy it from my own perception. So this is what I wanted to ask you. So in terms of your stories and your scripts, what kind of style would you say you have?
I would definitely say my films are like live action cartoons. Uh, Archie and Jim especially. Outsmarted is more definitely a popular little drama comedy series, which I'm very happy to always do. Series two is going very well. Um, I would have to say as well, I do love horror as well. There's definitely a very twisted side to that with the horror side. I would probably have to say, like, I like to be originally mad with my ideas. I like to think outside the box and think of something that people would never go for.
Mm.
and I think that's why people don't really, some of them like my ideas, because they think this is something that would never really get made. But then what makes me laugh is when I do make them and I get them out there, some people watching are like, oh, this is really fun. This looks really good. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't want to do it. And then they're like, yeah, but now, and I'm like, well, no, you had your chance. You know, so I'm not going to work with you, you know. So I like to work with people that have fun with film, who are artists, not egos.
Yes, there's different approaches to creativity, and then I mean, from my opinion and my PI Creations London, I I'm setting it up as a network so that everything creative is included. It's not just following a trend or following a style. That's great. There's market for that and it sells. But creativity comes from loads of like different backgrounds and different minds. And mentioning different minds, it's that the Autism Awareness Week. I did see your video, and I have a few questions for you, if you don't mind answering them. So, in terms of like autism, do you feel that your work is judged in a discriminative way when people read your scripts, and what is the feedback that you generally get?
Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to answer that question with the three autism awareness films. So the first one, The Donkey, fantastic reception. I even got someone saying to me that they know someone who's non-verbal, who's 40, and the film helped. So that was fine. Scripting, that's going to festivals now. But when I premiered that, people thought it was so emotionally powerful, which I was very happy about. So that had a massive reception. The next film I'm doing, Discrimination, which is about autism women trying to fight for their rights, which does link with Donkey and Scripting, because Eddie, my character, is involved. Casting for that has been a nightmare because, you know, I've been trying to say to these actresses, you're playing an autistic woman, but you don't have to be autistic to play it, because I'm a director who's autistic, and I explain how the character is, and then I get all these stupid excuses. I'm not comfortable to play an autistic person, bro. And I'm like, why not? I said, if you know, Dustin Hoffman won an Oscar when he played autistic character and stuff like that. Like, yeah, but I don't. And I said, yeah, but you saying that, you know, you can't play autistic is like saying me, who is autistic, can't play someone who's not autistic. And that's like saying a gay man can't play a straight man, and a straight man can't play a gay man.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not stereotyping, because I explained who this character was, Evelyn, who's the lead character, and all these actresses were so stuck up and were like, we can't do this, you know, this is horrible. And your film's going to look bad if you don't cast someone who's autistic in this. I'm like, are you serious? So that's the only discrimination I get. But the actress who's doing it now, this wonderful actress called Laura, she thinks she has got autism. But she even said to me, even if I didn't think I had it, I'd still do this role. I sent her the script, and she said it was the best script she ever read. And she said, I'm 100% going to do this. And I said, amazing. And everybody
Because I mean, autism is a challenge. So Laura will be taking on the challenge of understanding the challenge.
exactly, and not just
so that really does define it, doesn't it?
Awareness for women who can't get diagnosed, and
Yes.
it's a very big thing. I do all this research. And that's another thing as well about my scripts. I always research some stuff about what I'm going to
do. That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, and Discrimination has had a lot of research about this. And this, honestly, I'm going to tell you now, because it's going to get filmed next month. I will say this now. It is the best script out of all the autism awareness films I've made. This is going to be the best one.
I'll be looking forward to seeing it. I definitely will be. I enjoy your work, and I enjoy working with you. In terms of autism awareness, there's also ADHD. There are a number of people who have other disabilities that are quite invisible. You cannot really tell, and the whole diagnosis is it can be very difficult, especially for women, because it's scientifically proven and studied that they can mask, but a lot of people mask when they walk out their door, when they go to work, when they're on the train. Somebody could be having a panic attack and no one would know, because they have learnt to mask, because of the society is that if they can't see it happening, it's not there. So in terms of me asking you the questions in regards to autism awareness and disabilities, I just wanted to mention that through PI Creations that there will be a platform for a new charity called ID. So you'll be seeing that coming soon. And it will be a pleasure to have you, Reese, so that we can raise more awareness, to bring everyone together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you so much for doing this interview with me. It's the first interview for PI Creations London, and hopefully we will see you soon to find out more in a couple of months, and you can update us then.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Reese.
Thank you.
Okay, speak soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
No, bye.